Hey, what's going on, everyone? Henry Kaminski here from the Brand Doctors Podcast with another episode for you guys. I have a really awesome guest today on the show, and we actually bumped into each other literally on LinkedIn. I told you guys before that I'm really spending a lot of time on LinkedIn lately because I just find it to be a great place that has a higher quality of person. I'm not going to lie. I'm going to be straight up. And I bumped into Kelly because I looked at her LinkedIn profile and I saw that she was doing some really cool things. And I said, I got to have her on the show. So without further ado, let's give Kelly Soto a big warm welcome. What's going on, Kelly?
How are you? Thank you so much for that, for the introduction and for the background. I agree with you with the LinkedIn. You do find a higher caliber of person, nice connections, and the beauty is when people are not interested, then the next steps are to just say no, right?
Keep it real, keep it real. So as I'm talking to Kelly offline, getting to know her a little bit more, we find out that she grew up in Jersey City. My father grew up in Jersey City, so we're and this is in New Jersey for some of you guys that are out. So we're kind of neighbors, kind of. And we and it's so funny because 9 times out of 10 when I meet somebody on LinkedIn, they live in like Australia. And so it's funny to just randomly find somebody that doesn't live too far away and actually live in a neighborhood that is literally next door to my dad and where he grew up. So really cool stuff there. So we're going to vibe. So the cool thing about Kelly is she created this brand, if you will, literally from scratch, literally from her own life experiences, and she sort of just let those things take course. And so I'm going to shut up, but I'm going to let Kelly take it over. So Kelly, tell us about the name of your brand. And you were getting into the story offline, and that's when I cut you off. I said, we got to go live. So, so go ahead. I'll let you take the stage.
Sure. So my brand is I Deserve. Wellness is how I started the brand, but it's become more of a I Deserve movement, if you will, and I'll get into that. And the reason why I call it a movement is because we solve for many different things. It's clarity, wellness, nourishment, empowerment. Specifically, women's empowerment is something I focused on. I started to tell you a little bit about my business evolving, my movement's evolving. I've been failing forward just like many other business owners. But there's also another branch of this, and with my husband as he's building out a brand in I Deserve Canna, which is a cannabis advocacy and legislative portion of the business. So we're still in the beginning phases of it, but the reason why I was called to do what I do today was a couple of different things. I was born in Jersey City, New Jersey, to a single mother. She wasn't quite single in the beginning phases, but when I was 5, she was in an abusive relationship with my father. She then had 2 girls. I'm one of 4 girls in the house, and we have a brother from my father's side. She decided to leave my father, and at that time went on and just, raised us in this very impoverished neighborhood. So my mom was a welfare recipient. She did what she can with what she had at the time, and she did her very best. And with that, definitely built well-rounded children. If you fast forward, when I was 18, my mom became obese just because of the circumstances. Obviously, a lot of conditioning, a lot of abuse, a lot of situations that didn't allow her to, get out or snap out of those experiences. So obese, she was rushed to the hospital at one point with not being able to breathe. And when she gave birth to my sister, she had blood clots. She created the blood clots from, I guess, the pregnancy. They were twins, so it was very, at that time, definitely high risk. She was in the hospital for a little bit of time. They decided to do open heart surgery, and She was on life support for about 13 days. And on the 13th day, my mother passed away. So November 26, 1995. I just graduated from high school. So it was first year of college. I looked at this as an experience because my mom told me, what I want from you is to graduate college, and that's all I want from you. She couldn't provide anything, no resources, because we didn't have a trust fund or anything along those lines. So I went on and did what I knew how to do, and that's to survive. Fast forward a little bit more, at 19, I gave birth. So I'm now a single mother at 19, and raising a child on my own. So I'm now a stereotype in Jersey City. I am now from this, single parent home. And now I learned what I learned how to do when I entered corporate America. So I was in school, having a child, working full time, because I'm a survivor, right? And I didn't know why I was doing it. I just did it. I don't know why this happened to me, but it happened. But I started to realize that things happened for me. So I pushed myself forward and continue to do that. I started to really advance myself in financial services. Again, not knowing how I ended up there. I didn't know what a mutual fund was, but I started selling them with AllianceBernstein at the time. And I really did well. I grew up in that environment. I landed there. I didn't want to be there. I didn't know what it was, why it was there. I just did it, and I just continued to strive and do my very best. And in the course of that, I wound up, again, fast forward, meeting my husband about 10 years in. So I was a single mom for about 10 years, in and out of relationships, but continued to grow and build and just creating my own success and following my passion and following my drive to raise my daughter in a way that I wasn't given myself. So I did everything I could to survive and to make do. And I did well. I advanced to a national accounts position with then AllianceBernstein, moving on to Prudential. So I worked for Prudential for about 10 years. In the midst of working for Prudential, my husband was diagnosed with cancer. So about 3 years into our marriage, he gets diagnosed. We fought, we won the battle. He's a survivor of Hodgkin's lymphoma. So today he's still with us. He's alive and kicking and creating his movement, as I mentioned to you before. And about 2 years in November, I lost my multiple six-figure income with Prudential. It just came out of nowhere. I didn't know it was coming. I was a high flyer. I did what I can do. I busted my butt. I had great work ethic. I had great rapport with everyone. There was no real reason that I can think of why I was losing my position. But when I did, I decided to start to do what everybody else does naturally and look for another JLB. After I allowed myself to quiet down, I started to look under the hood, realizing that all of these things in my life happened for me. I partnered with a network marketing company. I built myself. I started to develop myself. I started to attend and get coached and just work through some of the situations and realize that, again, life happens for you. All of these things are just pointing me in the direction that I needed to be. So I decided to create a wellness brand. So I started to coach people on wellness products. I started to coach them on, again, becoming the best version of themselves by taking care of themselves, by working hard. I then became certified in yoga. I'm actually in the midst of my coaching designation as well. And I recently partnered with ClientWise, which is a coaching company for financial advisors. So I'm starting to see life really pull together. It's all starting to make sense, right? The light bulb comes on. You realize that all of these things, again, are experiences that lead you in the direction that you're meant to be, because we all have a plan and we all have a purpose. But when you get quiet enough to really listen to it and not stay stuck and allow yourself to fall because life is, challenging, then you just, things start to come together. And I'm not going to say that this has been a pretty picture, but I've learned to find the gratitude in every experience. and I've learned to see, see the strength in myself as I grow. So what I did recently, not recently, I should say it's coming on a year actually, I launched a women's empowerment movement under the I Deserve umbrella. I'm sort of considering going nonprofit in that direction, but that's neither here nor there. But that is think of it like a half a day retreat. I'm going to have bigger visions for it. I gather speakers, panelists to tell their life story, and we do that so that other women and people in general, because I do have males in the session, learn how to share their story, because we're all here to serve one another, right? We're all here to share our experience so that someone else can then benefit from that. So we share our stories to empower others to then tell theirs, and it just becomes this big event where it's just a wonderful experience. It's really moving. It's empowering. It's motivating. And I've just scratched the surface when it comes to that. So that's where I am right now. I mean, I've gotten myself very close to connecting locally. A lot of working very closely with local politicians. I've worked on campaigns. I've worked on networking and getting my story out there so that I can create this much bigger brand that penetrates the community and find a way to give back and allow people to realize it's not, what's the word I'm looking for? Many people are unfulfilled, and they don't realize how unfulfilled they are, and they don't realize how many options they have to, create a move with themselves, or to create a business, or to align themselves with the right company, because we're all like in this numb state, right? We're all in this state where, especially when you're working and you're going full force, you're raising a family, and the beauty is I can resonate with almost any person, but any woman specifically, because I've been at the side of poverty. I've been a single mother. I'm now a married mother. I've been full-time working experience, in a working experience. I am, I've now an entrepreneur. So I can kind of tackle any type of individual. And I have worked with the impoverished, and I've sat next to CEOs. So, in business meetings. So I could, pretty much handle the spectrum, and I'm proud to be able to do that because of my experiences, and not just my life experiences, but also my work experiences in financial services.
Killing it. I love the fact that you keep coming back to this term, and I've circled it here 100 times, that things happen for me versus to me. And I want you to dive into that a little bit deeper, because a lot of my audience are entrepreneurs, small business owners, and whether they're just starting out or they're seasoned and they've been around for 10 years, whatever, there's days, and I've had them myself. I've had great ups and I've had massive downs. Tell me where that came from, that phrase.
Because through my life, I've always questioned, why is this happening? I can't, I'm done with this. I can't handle anything more. It's it may not seem like a lot just in a brief conversation, but as you're going through the motions and as you're experiencing one thing, it seems like one thing after the next, I've connected with people that haven't experienced nearly as much in their lifetime. And so I always question why me? And if you sit and sulk in that why me, and why did this happen, and why did I lose that case, or why did I, why am I so tired? You have to realize that there's a reason why it's happening. It's maybe you're not ready for that next level, or maybe you need something to push you to get through that situation, so that you're in that constant stare, because success doesn't look like this. You and I both know that, right? Success looks like this. And if you take those loops and you find yourself, you're able to find the strength in that downside, you're spiraling upward, but you realize that there's some dips. So finding the situations that, again, happen for you, it's happening for a reason, because you're meant to either share a story or a situation, or maybe you're just not ready for that phase of growth, or maybe you're just not prepared enough. So that's what I found in my personal situations. But I also realized too, on the flip side, is that my experiences are meant to share with someone else. So as I'm going through that, or have gone through it, I can resonate a little bit more with somebody who's in need of my story, because it will help them get through their moments of weakness. It will help them get through their moments of, hard times. And once you start to realize you can get past those situations, then life just changes. Then, we all know our thoughts become our reality, right? So if you're thinking positively about a situation, maybe finding the gratitude, part of what I didn't tell you is that we actually just downsized our property. So when I had my third and final child, because I have 3 total, we decided to move from Bayonne to West Orange. It was an accomplishment. I, doubled my property size. I now, doing the normal, find the home in suburbia and live that life and really appreciate it. But after having lost my position and deciding to go full-time entrepreneur, naturally what comes with it is financial trouble, right? Financial stress and stress on the family and all of this stuff that goes along with trying to pedal back up without losing myself and maybe going back to that position that I wasn't so fulfilled in. So we downsized and I just sold my property, and that was a struggle for me. But what I decided to do, keyword decided, is to find the gratitude in the situation. So when I was moving out and downsizing and throwing stuff out and donating and selling the property, it was a challenging time for me, because I saw that I was here from a three-bedroom apartment in Jersey City, and now I have this 3,000 square foot house with a massive backyard, and we started to design and do so many different things. Instead of finding myself troubled with the situation, and I did, don't get me wrong, I'm human, I found the gratitude, and I thanked the man upstairs for giving me this experience, giving us the time to entertain and do, slip and slide flip cup in the backyard and redo.
I never heard of that one. I heard of flip cup, but not slip and slide.
It's really fun. So I allowed myself to find the space, and accept what was happening and deal with it in a more positive light. Finding the gratitude and really being grateful for the experience, and being grateful for not knowing what's next for me. I'm back in Hudson County. Hudson County is my home. It's where I'm doing most of my work. It all makes sense, but it's also a struggle because I have no office now. As you can see, I'm in the kitchen. I lost my office. I lost my massive closet. But it's not a loss. It's a gain, because there's a reason why I'm here. I hope that makes sense.
It makes total sense, and I love that you're very articulate in how you tell a story, and I have to commend you on that. There's a lot of people that talk in circles, but you're very, very on point, and you take us from point A to point B very easily. And I want people that are listening to take notes on that, because the way you tell your story is truly going to impact how your brand resonates with your audience. And Kelly's doing a hell of a job with that. And I know her for a half an hour, really, in true honesty. So big shout out to you for that. Now, I want to get into where the name came from, the I Deserve movement. I was intrigued by the name when you mentioned it on our LinkedIn chat. And so I want to go there. I don't want to waste any more time. I want to make sure people get to know that and where you're going with that in the next year.
So it's interesting. I mentioned to you that I partnered with a network marketing company, which I want to just commend for any network marketers out there. Network marketing gave me a platform to, again, become the best version of myself. It allowed me to look at the opportunity, not just to create business, but also to help others and also to help myself, because there's a lot of personal development. So I was on a call with one of our leaders in the organization, and it was a question that I asked at the end of the call, and it became a coaching session. I said something along the lines of, I need XYZ. And he stepped back for a second and he says, do you mind if I give you a little coaching? And I was like, absolutely, I'm receiving anything I can right now. And he said, do yourself a favor and replace the word need with deserve. And the lights just went on. And it became this powerful statement. My husband created bracelets for me at an event I was speaking at. And I just remind people to realize, and now mine is, I deserve clarity, wellness, nourishment, and empowerment, right? But you deserve whatever it is that you deem you deserve. So if you think you deserve, the biggest house on the block, or if you think you deserve the best dog or the best, food, whatever it is that you as a person feel like you deserve, I want you to be reminded that you deserve that. So you deserve everything it is that you set out to achieve, inclusive of whatever it is that your vision is. For me, my vision is massive. I envision my half-a-day seminars to translate to a full day, and then maybe a retreat style, so a couple of days. I envision that even getting launched out a little further, where we can trickle down into high school students, so that we can start to empower them to become what they seek to achieve. And so that's what it is. I mean, that's why I call it a movement, because there's multiple areas in which we could we can work with others to serve them.
I love it. I see this exploding eventually, and if it hasn't already. I mean, now I go into coaching mode, of course, but like, do you have a Facebook group established? Do you have, how are you getting the word out?
A lot of in-person networking, a lot of Facebook connections, in-person meetings. So I've done a lot of networking locally. So I mentioned to you, that's why I started to get called back in Hudson County, and I wasn't sure why, but this is why, right? I'm here now, and now I'm able to serve my community. I have attended a lot of, again, local events, a lot of political events, because I am the least likely person that you would ever think would be into politics. And I'm not even saying I'm a politician, but I realize the community benefits and the community aspect, and so I started to make a lot of connections there. Facebook group, yeah, it's under I Deserve Wellness, which I'm considering changing that. I don't think I Deserve ... was available, so considering that, because it's more of a generic brand as opposed to I Deserve Wellness. It was wellness initially, because that wellness is what allowed me to open my eyes to why I'm here. I'm here to help others. Again, I lost my mom due to heart health and obesity. My husband's a cancer survivor. I've always been, pretty healthy. I launched the, yoga. I've got certified. I'm not practicing. I don't own a studio or anything like that, but I do love the experience. So that's why I created this I Deserve Wellness Facebook group, and it's trickling up. It's not massive just yet, but I attend different events, especially when I'm hosting something to get the word out. And I also, what I've done is partner with some of the local nonprofits, so that we could raise those funds to contribute to the nonprofits. So that's really how I'm doing it. It's total grassroots.
Yeah. And it sounds like you're gonna be on your way very, very soon. And so I'm just thinking ahead now, and I'm saying to myself, how do I help this girl? I love that you've walked the walk. You're not on that kick that everybody is on right now. Like, like marketing funnels are these big things right now,
Yeah.
especially in the network marketing space. Right. And it's like, let me jump on that bandwagon and see where it'll take. Like, you literally are who your movement is all about. Mm-hmm. And that's something that I want to point out because, you know, it's like, you know, it's like trying to say you're from the hood, but you never lived in the hood.
Right.
Like, how else do I explain it, right?
Yeah.
And so I feel you because, like, I grew up in Long Branch, New Jersey, and I grew up in a single parent home myself, and we lived in the hood. When my parents first got divorced, they had to figure out what to do. So my mom went her way, and my father went another way, and I went with my dad, believe it or not. And I'll never forget it. My dad was like, if you want to get rid of the dog, we can find a better place to live. And I was like, we're not getting rid of the dog. So we literally found this shithole place that was up the block from the projects. And it was literally like 1,000 feet and you were like in the projects. And I remember walking in for the first time in that apartment and going, this is my house. And like I said, this is happening to me for a reason. Mm-hmm. And so I was kind of a little punky kid in our old town. It was primarily white, and like there was a lot of punks in the town. And so I'm a little guy, but I have a big mouth, and I got in more trouble in that little town than in 1 year than I did in all 4 years in high school in Long Branch, because it was like the streets kept me out of trouble. Like, I knew that, like, I wasn't fighting Thomas around the corner. If I got into a brawl with him, I'm fighting his sisters, I'm fighting his uncles, I'm fighting his cousin. Like, and now I can't walk down the street at night, like, because I could get my ass beat at any moment, right? And so Long Branch really put me in check. And I don't know, I just went off on a tangent here, but like, long story short is, like, I think the reason why you're going to be so damn successful in this movement is because you are them. Mm-hmm. Like, you've been that, and you've walked there and got the t-shirt. And like, me and my wife, we have a 5.5-month-old, and it's our one and done. And for you to raise your own child at 19 by yourself, like, I got the chills because Dante was up at 3:00 in the morning last night because his teeth are coming in. Yeah, and like that. So picture this, Cal. We got the 60-pound pit bull in the bed. We got Dante in his little, we call it the daydreamer, because we know we don't want to co-sleep. So I'm right. So we got him in the daydreamer. We got Canella in the middle of us. And then I got my wife on a foot of the bed, and I got me on 6 inches of the bed. And now 3:00 comes, and Dante just starts going because of his teeth. And like, I'm sitting here, and my wife jumps up, and then like we tag team him, and we get him back down. It took about an hour, but man, to do that by yourself, like, I can't even imagine. And so I was like tearing up a little bit. I'm not gonna lie, when you were going through that part of the story, because I was like, dude, he's only 5.5 months old, and I've said to myself at least a dozen times, I don't know how my father did it. Like, I don't know how single parents do it, right?
Well, I mean, I think part of it is also connecting with other people, right? And I'm not saying, like, I definitely did it on my own, but I had some resources outside. It wasn't family, which is odd, right? But I had a neighbor, Margaret, who, when I decided to kick out my daughter's father, because we were together on the front ends for a very short period of time, she knew I was going to school, and she knew that I was, that this is what I wanted to do. And she said, don't stop going to school. You're gonna keep Deja home with us, and she'll.
So you get these angels coming into your life. Yeah. Mm-hmm. It sounds to me like, and I believe, and you, I don't think you'll disagree here. I truly believe that, like, people come into your life for a reason. nothing is a fucking coincidence. Like everything happens for a reason, and there's a reason why we connect, dude. There's a gazillion people on LinkedIn, and like we just happen to connect. So like that's what's funny about it. And then we start talking, and we see all these similarities, and so it's crazy how your story is so fitting. And guys, I didn't know anything about Kelly before today. Like I do these podcasts this way for a reason, because I want to be completely shocked. I don't want any sort of backstory. I want it all on the show. Why? Because it evokes a shit ton of emotion. And that's what entertains people. That's what drives people. That's what impacts people. That's what makes people do things, whatever that is. It makes them take action. And so that's why I do this. And so Kelly opens up her can of worms to us today, and I'm like, there are so many nuggets in this story. I'm like, I wrote them all down here that like, I can't wait to tell my wife, because like, when you think you're having a bad day, just think of all the other folks out there that don't even have a roof over their heads.
Right.
And you're bitching about, you got a flat tire in your Range Rover today on the way to the airport. Like, think about it.
Yes.
Just think about it. And so, Kel, I got another episode back to back from you, so I got to prep for that. I can talk to you for another hour easy. So what I want to do is I want you to tell my audience where they can find more information about the I Deserve movement, and give us some social media handles. Like, just drop that for us.
Sure. So I'm at www.kellysoto.com. I consider that more of a landing page than anything else right now. I am at I Deserve Wellness on Facebook for the business page. Personally, a lot of my stuff gets filtered through that. Is Kelly, middle initial A, last name Gormley, Gormely, Soto. So all separate words naturally. On Instagram, kelly.a.soto. And on Twitter, I believe it's KELGEEE. So that's 3 E's. So clearly there's some uniformity I need to work on, right?
You gotta get you branded,
doctor. Yeah, I'd like to go make some changes right now.
So, all right. Awesome. Well, Kelly, thank you so much for spending, and don't get off the call after I stop hitting record. We got to talk. Kelly, thank you for being part of the show today and sharing your story. You've impacted me and inspired me tremendously, and I'm sure you've impacted thousands of other people that watch this show. And so I just want to say thank you for that. It was, sometimes I link up with people, they book a show and they don't show up, or because we literally didn't know anybody. We didn't know each other from Adam, and you called me because you couldn't link in. It was meant to be. And so again, thank you for sharing your story and inspiring others. And I wish you the best of luck in the future.
Thank you so much. Thank you.
You got it. So there you have it, guys. Another episode in the books. I hope you got some great takeaways from this episode. If you haven't joined my Facebook group, the Brand Doctors Hangout, go over there right now and come join. I'm going to have Kelly do it immediately after this call, so you're going to get to meet her again, I'm sure. It's just a group. There's about 360 of us right now. It's not a massive group, but I'm all about quality, not quantity. So come join us, and we'll ask you a few questions before you join. We want to make sure that you're a good fit. So that's that. And then the other thing is if you haven't told a friend or colleague yet about the Brand Doctors podcast, and you think it's going to help them in business, in life, whatever, can you just have them share it? That's all I ask. And I thank you in advance for that. So there you have it, guys. Another episode in the books. I got to run. I'll see you, or I should say, I'll catch you on the next episode. Talk to you soon. Bye-bye.